are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
Good actor. Like his movies.
SUPERDIVORCE.
Welcome to Super Divorce SUPERCAST. I'm Nick Villars, a vocalist.
Bob's coughing. I'm Bender, the drummer.
I'm Bob. I play guitar, and I was just choking on something.
Coughing. Dig.
I was drinking a little too fast because I wasn't sure that we were starting right away, but
That's okay.
I
Now
was
it's
caught off guard, off balance.
Well, it gives the intro to the show some flavor.
Yeah.
Yep.
You won't get that every time.
Now that you say that, the listeners will think it's staged.
Yeah.
He was coughing just to get a cheap laugh.
Hey, when we start the show, why don't you
Wow.
cough? Just start coughing as soon as we hit record.
That's not even professional. That's not even cool, man.
We're not professional.
No, not really. But
Speaking of not being professional, Dale is not here again today, but that's
No,
alright.
It's not Dale's fault this
No.
time.
Dale,
This time.
This time it's my wife's fault.
I'm sure
So-
some of you guys know Dale is the tattoo artist in the band, and he got double booked today.
Double booked.
So he was unable to attend. I myself just want to preface the podcast with I will be cutting out a little early to pick up my tattoo artist girlfriend who gets off work and has a broken down car.
Well,
That's cool.
It's just all kinds of craziness up
Yeah.
in here.
but I'll be here throughout the duration of the show, and
Bob
so
will be here.
Bob.
I gotta cut out early because of the staple gun.
Bob's holding a staple
I picked
gun
up
that
a
he
staple
found.
gun. Every time I see a staple gun like this, for the listeners you can't see, but staple gun. It's an old-fashioned one with a nice handle and places for your fingers. And this always makes me think of the Home Alone films.
Yes, I was
Like,
going to say that.
yeah.
That was my guess. I thought that's what you were thinking of.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good old Daniel Stern.
Yeah.
Taking the staples to the nose.
Yeah.
To the schnoz, and then obviously the penis and wherever.
Daniel
else.
Stern and Joe Pesci would have died several times over.
Well, there's a web series called Honest Action Movies, and it's from the same people who make Honest Trailers, which are fucking hilarious. It's a channel on YouTube called Screen Junkies, which I've been obsessed with lately because their content's just so funny. And they also do honest video game trailers now, which are really good. But they have honest action movies, and what they do is they pick apart action movies and say what would have really happened to the character, in real life had they actually taken this fall or been shot in this certain place, and it'll tally how many times they would have actually died throughout the movie. I watched one of the Die Hard movies, and John McClane.
How
should
did I
be-
know you were going to say Die Hard? Like,
Well,
of
he
all
should-
the movies, it's
'Cause
just like, alright, yep, Die Hard's probably the one.
The injuries he sustains are so ridiculous, and he just gets up and walks out. It's like he should have died somewhere around 39 times throughout the course of
Well, they
just the
they
first
couldn't
few
do
movies.
Jackie Chan movies because he actually,
Almost died
oh yeah,
a couple times.
if you think he should have died, he really
Probably
didn't.
almost.
Right. That's
You know.
true. Yeah, and if you ever want to see a really good breakdown of some of Jackie Chan's best action scenes, James Rolfe from Cinemassacre actually does some really good breakdowns of the different scenes and, how it impacted him when he first saw him and what they actually did practically and what actually happens to Jackie Chan, because it's like, well, he fell through all these plates of glass and almost died, but
He was electrocuted and
yeah.
burned. Real quick, here's something for you. You can listen to this podcast every Saturday evening. It might be late on Saturday, but we'll get a new one up there every Saturday. You can do that at www.superdivorceme.com/supercastme, or you can also Just search for Super Divorce SUPERCAST on iTunes. And
if you're friends with us on Facebook too, we usually just share the link from our Facebook page and also from the Divorce Club page. So
we do.
You can share it that way as well. If you're a listener and you think your friends would like the show, you can click share and send it around the old internet before it gets shut down.
Which is probably going to happen
Yeah.
soon.
Well,
Is that what you're saying?
Donald Trump said he was going to consult Bill Gates about getting the internet shut down so that ISIS couldn't make plans on the internet anymore.
That's all we need to do.
It's just that simple.
Just turn off the internet for a few.
Turn it off.
Go outside, ISIS.
Yeah.
Get off the internet.
Get some fucking exercise. Get off Fallout 4 and Pornhub.
Yeah.
And go outside, play a little kickball, and maybe you won't have any energy left to be terrorists.
If you're in ISIS and you're sitting there in Afghanistan in a cave playing Metal Gear Solid 5, just turn off the system and go out in real Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And play Metal Gear Solid 5.
Ride.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they have Do they have horses?
Yeah, they got horses.
Yeah, they got horses.
Get on your horse.
They
and-
don't-
Or if you can't afford a horse, I'm sure you can find a camel somewhere and
Or you
just
can
on
always
foot.
have one of your friends
yeah,
get on all fours and
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
piggyback ride you around.
Pretend.
Yeah.
make believe. Just go play.
do it bareback. Who cares? You're ISIS.
The world would be a different place if people just went outside and played, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Like if you get home from work as a banker
Yeah.
and
And
it's
then
like,
you
I'm
just
gonna go out
have
and play.
recess.
And like all your neighbors are outside playing, you know.
That would be awesome.
That would
Just
be
grown adults playing cops and robbers on
Yeah.
bicycles and shooting hoops. And
Yeah.
I used to look forward all day to getting home from school, especially when I didn't have sports going on or anything. I'd love just going out in the driveway and shooting some hoops, you know,
We would always
even if it was by myself.
in my neighborhood there were oftentimes tackle football games.
Ah.
And we would play at the big field at the elementary school nearby. But in those days, you had to get your starting group of maybe like you and your best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would walk to all the other kids' houses in the neighborhood,
And
knock on the
recruit.
door, and can Chris come out? You
Yeah.
know, that kind of stuff. And then your group grows larger and larger as you go along, and
Yeah.
you don't get that anymore.
Nope.
You won't have that.
People are afraid when you knock on somebody's door, it'll be a terrorist.
There's a terrorist. on the
Every
front porch.
Southern
every
Ohio.
third house is an ISIS member. Yeah.
Let's why don't we talk about us for a few minutes and what's
Mhm.
going on
We
in
could.
the band right now.
I don't think we have done that. Usually we go off on a tangent at the beginning of the show. And then
Usually
Yeah.
Bob goes off on a tangent at the beginning of the show.
I don't know. I haven't been listening to the podcast this time around. I feel so good about it when we lay it down. I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's necessary to go back.
It's like when people ask certain actors, "Do you ever watch your own work?" And I'm like, no, not really. You know,
Shia
it's-
LaBeouf did.
yeah,
Did you see that shit?
I've seen
the
a
gifts
little
from
bit,
that
yeah.
alone are totally worth
Worth
it.
it.
They make Shia LaBeouf that much better.
Yeah,
I think he's wonderful.
Yeah.
He's
He's a good man,
Yeah.
for sure.
I saw him on Ellen recently.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it was a clip from 2014, but she asked him about the whole bag on the head thing, and he apologized. He said basically I was in the midst of a deep existential crisis and didn't know what I was doing. So he apologized, and he did this thing where he rented out a space and he let people come in like one at a time. They had a long line of people waiting outside, and one person at a time could come into this room where he was sitting at a desk, and he described it as having a bunch of implements laying in front of him, random objects people could like prod him with, or just do whatever they wanted to Shia LaBeouf. And
Yeah.
he said he was expecting people to come in and do some nasty things, and he said it was very eye-opening because most people were really nice. And
Ah.
just came in and said nice things to him, and
keep your head up, Shia.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, now he's apparently his next thing is like for so long, I don't know, like a week or something. His like personal email and like his agent's personal email and like even his phone number or something are supposed to be available to the public, so you can just like call and talk to Shia LaBeouf.
I remember they did that with Jonah Hill one time, and I called him and I couldn't get through. It was kind of disappointing.
I remember Tom Green threatening Glenn Humplick with that. Where like every show he was going to reveal another number from Glenn Humplick's home phone number.
Poor Glenn. Oh man.
Yeah.
He got it pretty bad.
If you missed out on the Tom Green show, I guess I think I was in maybe like 7th or 8th grade when it first came on, but it was all the rage.
Yeah.
I think there are so
With
many
good
kids
reason.
now who don't know who he is that he could probably come back.
Yeah,
Do
he-
Man on the Street again.
he
that type of
could.
stuff. Go to like a college town.
Yeah.
And a lot of people probably wouldn't recognize him.
Probably not. He's, we would, but I think he's aged enough, and also, like you said, he's been somewhat out of the spotlight long enough to where that kind of format would work for him.
Yeah.
His celebrity hasn't ballooned up over the years or anything. It's probably mostly diminished.
Maybe try the old poop on the end of the microphone interview.
Well, he's always, on his Facebook, he's always posting things from that era, so
Yeah.
it's not like he's like, well, that was my past, now I'm a serious comedian.
Yeah.
It's not like that. I think he's definitely got an affinity for his old work, and I think we won't have seen the last of Mr. Green.
No, I heard Pauly Shore on Bob and Tom last week, and he said that this spring 2016 he will be going on tour with Tom Green and Harlan Williams.
Nice.
That's amazing.
I know
Yeah.
Tom Green and Harlan Williams are best friends in real life, so that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some Harlan Williams.
And go ahead and throw the Weasel in there.
Yeah.
Go check out some live comedy
Yeah.
next spring.
That'd be interesting.
Anyway, we're going to say what's going on within the
with
band.
the band.
Yeah.
What is going on with us? We just booked another show for
Oh,
January 16th.
No.
No?
No
go.
It's not happening
No.
anymore?
Damn.
no,
Bummer.
they just, Drew messaged me yesterday, I believe, and he said that they had spoken with another band they were playing with in Dayton, and they were all drunk, and promised they would let them on that show, and then he forgot about it. So
And
that's
then
why he
offered
offered
it
it to
to
us, and then I think the other band kind of reminded him of their offer first, and he was like, "Oh shit!" So
Yeah.
he said he would rather have us on the bill, but
Well, hopefully that other band doesn't listen to this podcast
Yeah.
and hear that.
I don't know who it is. Well, I feel like we've become pretty decent pals with them. I think there
Yeah.
was like a one-off show they did, and just palling around a little bit, threw that
Yeah.
offer out to them, but they were going to get us another show. So
Yeah.
we'll have one coming.
Well, you'll see us soon. Other than that, we're patiently going through the mixing process of the album, and should have that finished relatively soon. As far as mixing is concerned, that it gets shipped off to be mastered and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
probably early 2016 for the album release.
And Bender and I got social last evening,
We
and
did get social
went
last
out
evening.
to we went out to invade downtown Dayton. Went to the Dublin pub in
Mhm.
Dayton. They're having a wonderful little Star Wars charity event, right?
Yeah, it was well, they were celebrating the new movie coming out, but also they were having a Toys for Tots collection. There was a Star Wars themed pub band.
You got some good video of playing the Cantina song.
Yeah, they played the Cantina song on like traditional like Irish instruments, like a
Mhm.
cello and a clarinet and a little, I don't know, fiddle or something, and then like a bongo drums. Like it was super fun. The guy playing cello, by the way, was dressed in full-fledged Wookiee costume.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
the only thing you could see was his painted fingers playing the cello.
And because it's already like 60 degrees in Ohio right now, inside of the pub with all those people, it was probably at least like 70 or 80.
That
and
guy
then inside
probably-
that suit, he was probably looking at about 110 degrees.
He probably lost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
But he stuck with it all
Yeah.
night, just jamming. It was awesome.
I never saw him take any of the garments off.
I
or,
did
you
not
know,
either.
He was in full on Chewy mode the whole time.
But then we headed over to Blind Bob's.
Well, no, first we went to Club Vex.
Vex, that's right.
And we walked in. As we're walking up the stairs, I started to smell just like this, overwhelming amount of marijuana.
Oh yeah.
And it was,
Somebody
it's
was
like, oh, someone out here has been smoking. It wasn't outside. It was inside the club.
Because when the door opened, it was
Yeah.
just like whoosh.
Yeah. It was like Snoop Dogg level.
Yeah.
And just like opened the door, and there was no one inside the club.
Not a soul.
And the Friday nights have traditionally been goth night at Club Vex for as long as I've known about the place. So years and years. And so it was like 11:15, and we walked in, and some guy like walked straight towards us, and just like, "Sorry, we're not open yet." And I was like, "Okay,
It's
no problem."
11:15.
Yeah, I just like turned around and left, and yeah, I'm thinking.
So you walked, but the door was open.
Yes.
The door was open.
Door was
You
yeah.
walked in, but they weren't open yet.
Yeah.
Right.
We walked in, but it was like you walked into some place you shouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
But they gave you no reason to believe that they were
Yeah.
not open, other than the fact that from the street, it didn't look like there was anyone inside. And I was thinking, oh, it's a very slow night for them for some
Yeah.
reason.
What time did you head in?
Like 11:15.
We're not open yet.
Yeah.
At 11:15.
Yeah.
That's what. That was the.
So I don't know. My guess is they never opened last night.
Probably just smoked weed.
Smoked weed and drank the club alcohol. Is probably what they were doing.
Maybe
So,
people just went in there and killed the owners and took over the place.
I don't
and-
know. If you
Smoking
own
weed.
Club Vex and you're listening right now, you should probably be worried about your business because it didn't seem like they had your best interests at heart last evening. Yeah, but then after that we walked over to Blind Bob's
Yeah.
and yeah, there was
Blind Bob's. We ran into a photographer friend, acquaintance of mine, I would say, who has taken some very good model quality pictures of my girlfriend. Which sounds kind of weird to say. Like, oh, this dude's totally taking pictures of my girlfriend. But he's super cool.
yeah.
Borderline gay, even though totally not. But he's also a dancer, so he's just very flowy and expressive. Awesome guy, though. And then we also ran into an old friend of Nick's who happens to print things.
Yeah. So it was a good night of networking.
Yeah.
Which I guess that happens when you go out and talk to people.
We also bought
Sometimes.
beers for a homeless guy.
Yeah, we bought 2 beers for Crackhead Phil,
Yeah, Crackhead Phil.
local celebrity over there on 5th Street in the Oregon District. So, yeah.
He called us nephew. We were his
yeah.
nephews.
Yeah, last
And
night.
everyone that gave him a cigarette was his niece.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Which you might think it's enabling, but I don't think if you would have seen Crackhead Phil, you would know that it doesn't matter at this point. I don't think there's any getting off the streets for that man.
And I don't want to like put that in a horrible context.
No,
or anything. It's just kind
he
of like,
seemed
you know
content.
what? Yeah, it's like it's a very bad situation, but this man is a local celebrity within
Yeah.
the Oregon district, and people buy him beers and give him cigarettes, and
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I didn't know the man. Did you notice the old man sitting at the table directly behind us when we were at the Dublin pub?
Yeah.
Apparently, that gentleman is also homeless, and has been sort of kind of adopted by the pub, and he just sort of wanders in and sits down, and just people just buy him beers all night, however, whatever he wants, or however. Sometimes people buy him dinner, sometimes people,
Hey, it's another way of living. So
Yeah.
if you can get by doing that,
I ain't gonna look down on you.
whatever,
Crackhead Phil didn't ask for money. He just
No, he
wanted
didn't.
beer.
He asked for beer and cigarettes.
Yep.
He was very upfront about what he wanted, and he seemed happy as fuck about it too.
Yep.
So, there you go. I'm not gonna judge.
Nope.
Not gonna judge.
If Crackhead Phil's there again, I'll buy him another beer.
Yep. Make it a tradition.
I think he would prefer it if you bought him crack.
I don't know, but I don't want to go that route.
Yeah,
I'm not comfortable buying crack.
So you do draw the line at some point.
Yeah.
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 I'm not
There's a
gonna
line.
feed his habits. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, you give him beer and cigarettes. I mean, you might as well buy him some crack.
Well, he can't get in trouble with the authorities for having beer and
Oh,
cigarettes.
that's true. You don't want to send him off to the
clink.
slammer.
Yeah.
Like MC Hammer.
Yeah.
If your name's Crackhead Phil,
Yeah.
you do crack.
Yeah. But I don't think
Maybe he did crack though. That's why he ended up on the streets, and now he just wants beer
Typically,
and cigarettes.
when you do crack, you continue to do it.
Well, yeah.
Until you're dead.
I realize this.
I've never met a crackhead, so good on you guys for blazing a new trail into the future.
Well, if you'd ever come out with us, you'd probably have met a crackhead too.
maybe you can come out next week.
Yeah.
We'll go and
I'm here now.
This is not out.
It's Saturday night.
And we're doing a podcast.
Hey, Kev, sometimes after a long day's work, I like to come home and take a nap, and sometimes, sometimes I'm off on Saturday morning, and then I'm off on Sunday, too. So,
Well, you know what, though?
Kev, we can have a double sleepover. You come over on Friday night and stay the night on Saturday night.
I went out last night, and then I got home and was up till 3 a.m. You know what time I worked today?
6 in the morning.
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Well,
so
you obviously have no concern for your own well-being.
Yeah.
Because
you look well.
Getting 3 hours sleep is not something I recommend to my clients.
Well,
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is I had more fun than you last night.
You should have just said YOLO. That's all you should have said.
Yeah.
And that's debatable because I had a good time last night.
Okay. TT boys.
TT boys. TT boy. Sorry.
And white wine.
And white.
Facebook year in review. U.S. presidential election tops list of most talked about topics in 2015. Not surprising to me.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
I already heard about it.
Not surprising.
I'm about done.
Well, we got about another year left, so and it's gonna get worse.
You know, last week you mentioned that whole.
I'm just
thing
glad I
about,
don't watch network TV anymore, so I don't have to see the fucking political ads. But go ahead.
Last week you mentioned that whole thinking that Donald Trump was a plant and that he's just saying more ridiculous things, to get all this attention.
Yeah, I think
or
Bob
whatever.
brought that up.
Oh yeah, whoever.
Yeah.
But of course, then I look at my news feed, and over the past week, from then until now, it's just been every day. It's just another person.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God! Did you see what Trump did? Oh my God!
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Stop talking about it.
I'm telling you, it's helping. I think it's going to help him.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to share the one video.
Yeah. I think the funny stuff is funny. I think at this point, there's nothing else he can really say for me to really get a reaction to where I'll have to.
I never got a reaction out of me to begin with. I just never wanted to hear about it.
Well, what I told Nick about it was, there's one hand where you want to ignore the guy because he's obviously feeding off of the attention, whether it's negative or positive. But then there's, a natural inclination to want to spread the word about how evil this person is and how we can't possibly let this asshole get into power, you know, because
Yeah.
then we're just idly sitting by and watching our country just, you know, delve headfirst into fascism. So it's
I guess I just have more faith
They're-
in people's
they're-
common sense
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
I really should.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a day-by-day battle. You know, you meet some people who, you know, have a really good head on their shoulders, and then the next day you read a couple comments on those Trump posts where people are defending the guy, and it's
I
like
unfollowed a couple
yeah.
people today.
Well,
on
I've
my
already-
news feed.
My problem is I don't, you know, what I should do is keep those people around so I can have a healthy debate with them, but
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
It's hard. Once you've burned enough bridges,
I got in
you
a
can't-
little bit of a political debate with the guy from high school that I ran
Oh
into
yeah,
last night.
I was overhearing that. And
Yeah.
some of the, of course, as I've said before on the cast, I'm not very educated, so I don't really jump into debates. But some of the stuff I heard him saying, I was kind of just like, nah,
Yeah.
no, I don't agree with that
Yeah.
at all, really.
But that's okay.
Still a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
We don't have to agree on everything.
I think the easiest way for me to relate to a conservative would be if that person was a libertarian.
Yeah.
I'd have to jump over the traditional conservatism and then the teabaggers and get to the libertarians, because I think their idea of conservatism is the closest thing to it making sense.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I've been watching a lot of Parks and Rec, and
Really?
Ron Swanson has been really inspiring me to not only regrow my mustache but also reconsider my view of big government. No, I'm just kidding. I just love his attitude when they're, you know, the auditors come in and they're, you know, gonna gut the place, and he's just getting the biggest hard on about it. Like,
How about Roy Jones Jr.? Professional
He's alive
boxer. Professional boxer loses by way of knockout to Enzo Maccarinelli.
Okay. So, two surprises there. Roy Jones is still alive and Roy Jones is still boxing. So, but the fact that he got knocked out does not surprise me, because my dad was watching him box in the 90s when we were watching Michael Jordan play basketball. So I'd imagine.
So you thought he was dead?
Well, I didn't think he was dead, but I know he's. The more I've found out about him in life, the more I kind of don't like him. I know he does like dog fighting and all that shit, but he does it out of the country to keep it on the down low and stuff. He's not a good person, so I'm glad he got his ass kicked, and anybody who does dog fighting can lick my balls. So actually they can't, unless they don't want to, then they can.
The Little Mermaid. Ariel character in live action adaptation will have blonde hair, actress says.
Boo!
Now this is we talked about this once before. Chloe Grace Moretz is supposed to play her, right?
You can't dye the fucking girl's hair red. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that.
it's not that. I mean, it's not like a racial thing. It's like, if she's a white girl and she's playing Ariel, easy dye.
Just give her red hair.
Easy dye job.
Yeah, it
So,
seems like an easy fix. I wonder why they're doing that.
it's an interesting choice.
Who- I don't
Are
know.
people-
Who fucking cares?
Are people
It's not like I'm gonna see it.
are people prejudiced against redheads?
Well, they don't
still,
have
I guess?
souls.
I don't believe that. That's a myth.
I don't know. The one redhead I dated didn't have a fucking soul.
I'll agree with that. Wait. I don't know who we're talking about.
You don't, because you never met her.
Oh, my bad.
But she doesn't
Okay.
have a soul, that's for sure.
Well,
How about-
I don't have a soul either, so. But I'm
Yeah,
not
but I
a
like
redhead.
you.
Here's
Yeah,
a good
that's
one. Pizza Hut.
Woo!
Restaurant chain creates degree program at Manchester Metropolitan University. So you can major in Pizza Hut.
Well, while I will say that Pizza Hut's not my favorite pizza, of course, It is a good pizza.
When was the last time you had pizza?
It's been a couple years. We played a little acoustic set at the wine cellar up the road here, and that was the day that the dude who booked the show didn't show up to his own show.
Oh,
and then
that was my
playing.
first show with you guys.
Yeah.
And that night, I was so hungry. There was nothing to eat anywhere. And this was before I started carrying protein around with me everywhere I went. And they were serving, like, super thin crust pizza.
Oh, yeah. Like
And
New York style, like big slices? Or
No, just like a
very thin.
tiny little personal pizza. And I remember looking at you guys and being like, if you tell anyone that I fucking ate this, you'll die. But now that it's been a few years, I feel more comfortable about coming clean about that. Not to mention, I'm not off the wagon as far as diet is concerned, but I am bulking up big time, so I've been eating pancakes and bread, and Ivy found this pancake mix that's called it's called Power Cakes. Has 25 G's of protein per serving, 100% whole grain. Tastes even better than Bisquick, in my opinion. And I'll throw a little maple syrup on there.
Well, you gotta have maple
bold.
syrup.
Right.
But remember, there's
And
only
some
so
vegan
much
butter.
left. So use it sparingly.
Yeah. Well, we got the tiniest little maple syrup from Target.
Yeah.
And the thing said it's only one serving, but it's seriously, we've used it like 50 times. I'm like, if this was one serving, you're in trouble, because it was like 88 grams of sugar and 88 carbohydrates, but if you get like 15 uses out of it, then you're fine. But
remember
pancakes, one of the best.
And go light on your maple syrup.
Yeah. You don't need a ton of it, you know.
No.
And throw a little butter on there, a little grass-fed butter.
Yeah.
Woo! Or a little vegan mayonnaise, vegan butter.
Yeah, you got some mayo.
Mayo on your vegan butter though is very good. Ivy got some of that, so.
We got one more TT boy here. Harrison Ford, actor, responds to Donald Trump's comments about his film Air Force One.
Yeah, I read that, and I know we just talked about not giving Donald Trump any more attention, but it's a pretty funny quote. It's just I think Donald Trump said something like, "We need a president who would act like that, you know, to defend the country." And Harrison Ford responded by saying, "It's just a fucking movie."
I fucking love it.
Just imagine him saying that in the most deadpan, uninterested. It's just a fucking movie.
I want Harrison Ford to run for president.
Me too. I feel like he'd have the Ron Swanson approach where you just tell people, well, that's your fucking problem, you know?
Yeah.
But there's part of me that likes that idea that, you know, a self-reliant society where we all just kind of bust our asses to be good at what we do, but then there's the other side of me that knows that there are circumstances out of your control that can put you on your ass, and having a strong centralized government with some programs to help you get back on your feet is a good thing. So I don't know how you can marry socialism with libertarianism, but
Speaking of Harrison Ford, I saw this.
I have seen that, yeah. I like the Ford Focus one.
Have you ever seen this?
I've not. We're looking at some pictures of Harrison Ford here. You've got the Ford Escort, where he's being escorted by a police officer. Looks like I don't know what happened there.
Ford Mustang, he's riding a horse.
Yeah, with David Letterman.
Yeah.
Ford Escape looks like the scene, the famous scene from The Fugitive,
Where he jumps off the big pipe with the water. And
Ford Fiesta, we look at Harrison Ford pouring some shots of vodka. Looks like maybe some Grey Goose. Ford Explorer, of course, is just a picture of him as Indiana Jones. The Ford Fusion is him, and the
Carbonite.
Carbonite there.
in
Empire.
Empire Strikes Back.
And then the Ford Focus is also another one of him as Indiana Jones right before he's getting ready to exchange the idol
For the
little
bag of
bag
sand.
Yeah. So
Hilarious.
Good meme.
yeah,
Good.
That's a
meme.
dank meme right
Yeah.
there.
real dank.
hmm
For some reason,
Focus.
Oh man, I told Ivy about this the other day, not to get off in meme territory, but there was a Will Smith meme, and it was BMX related. There's obviously something called a Smith grind in BMX and in skateboarding, but it's a person riding a BMX bike with Will Smith's head photoshopped on him, and it asks the question, Will Smith? And then he performs a Smith grind, and it says it answers its question. It says, yes, Will Smith. So, Will Smith, yes, Will Smith.
it's like the buffalo thing.
Buffalo, yeah.
Yeah.
Will Smith. Yes,
Stuff like that.
Will Smith.
This is unfortunate.
Uh-oh.
The our show notes, the little setup, our itinerary here is gone.
Okay.
It's for some reason it has erased about half of it
Okay.
on the my phone. I don't know why
Oh,
that
no.
happened. So now we just have to try and remember what we did.
Well, next is Super Divorce Don't Know Shit,
Yeah.
and then it's Comics Corner, then it's movies,
Then
Video
then
wrestling.
it's video games,
Video games,
then wrestling, then
Boom.
back to trending topics for a minute if you feel like it, and then
Yeah.
sign off.
So
Why don't we just skip to sign off? No, I'm just kidding.
see ya.
Uh,
Bender has about 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
Let's. Oh no,
For
we
the next
forgot about
15
Artist Searchlight.
Artist Searchlight.
Stroke. Wait, what?
Artist Searchlight.
Artist Searchlight.
That's the only thing we forgot. That's pretty good
Yeah.
though.
Search.
I have one in my head, but
Who?
if you, I was gonna say Circus Survive, but
Okay.
Violent Femmes.
I listened to them earlier
What
today.
about you, Nick?
Let's just
what's
make it
in
a
your
free
head?
for all.
I was trying to think of like a 70s guy,
Okay.
maybe like John Fogerty.
Okay. Well, like
Here.
Bender, I said Circa because I've been
Well,
listening to them.
Well, here, let's do this. We'll go around. This
Okay.
maybe we can do it this way from now on.
All right.
So you're gonna talk about John Fogerty. He'll talk about Circa, and I'll talk about the Violent Femmes.
Alright.
we have to switch it up.
All right.
Okay, John Fogerty is a class act. I've heard a story about him. At one of his shows, he actually purchased an ice cream cone for every person in attendance, and they got to enjoy some nice Cold Stone Creamery while they watched him play his music. So, and he brought out all the classics for everybody. So.
Classics such as
every CCR song ever written.
Yeah. I don't know any John Fogerty songs.
Well, the baseball song, "Put Me In Coach."
Oh yeah.
I'm ready
Okay.
to play today.
Okay.
That's just him. That's
Okay.
not Creedence.
Yeah. that doesn't sound
so
like
that's-
Creedence.
That's a hit.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a hit.
But
Well, that's good though. Ice cream for all of his fans.
yes.
Yeah.
So
It's a good job.
if you ever want some free Cold Stone and some good old Creedence hits, hit up a John Fogerty show because he is still touring, and you can get some free ice cream.
Did they all get the same flavor, or was it a mix?
I believe he did it like this. You wouldn't pick your flavor, but he didn't only do one flavor. He put a bunch of flavors into a hat.
Uh-huh.
And that way, you would either pick a flavor maybe you'd never had and be forced to branch out and try a new one, or you could trade with people, or
Yeah.
you could just find your flavor on the off chance that you pick it out of the hat. So
That's
it's
good.
a nice team building exercise
It's a good
for
way
the
to do it.
audience. Yeah.
Circa?
I don't know much about Circa, not as much as you guys do. I like the things that I've heard from them, but I have never given them the time of day and really delved into their music.
Any reason?
A lot of times with music, I feel like I've got my bands. Like I've got the people that I fucking just could never get tired of listening to, and sometimes I just like convince myself that I don't have like time to devote to new people, which is silly because every once in a while I find somebody, but I like Circa. I will say there is one song that I know very well, and it's because Bob, you posted it a long time ago on Facebook, but it's the song I Felt Free.
Yeah.
And I believe you posted the MySpace Live session.
Yeah.
I watch that still, like, to this day, because I do love the way that sounds.
That MySpace transmissions, that whole performance, all the songs that they did on there is, it still holds up. I was actually watching them the other day.
They're really fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of those flawless, no one in the entire band messes up ever type of bands. And just, I noticed the thing about them is that both guitar players are lead guitar players for the most part. So they're both just doing these melody and counter melodies the entire time. There's like no rhythm guitar at all. It's just two leads going on, and then Anthony Green's creamy, dreamy, vocals going over top.
I know I should give them
Absolutely.
some time.
Yes.
I would start at the beginning, just go Juturna and just
Yeah.
start, because
Absolutely.
they're
Mm-hmm.
really, really good.
Yeah.
It's not one of those where I wouldn't say it's an acquired taste. I think it's impressive.
Well,
the
if you
moment that
consider
hear
if you
them.
consider the type of other bands that I'm obsessed with,
Yeah.
it's like, why don't I listen to them?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just like
And
I said.
I think you'd really enjoy
Yeah.
his work with Seosin too.
Yeah. It's just like a
Translating
kind
the
of.
name.
It's one of those bands that I sort of just like missed the boat on when I was getting into this genre.
Yeah.
And was like listening. Oh, I like this band. And pulling my favorites or whatever. Circa was something that like I knew people that listened to Circa, but I just never grabbed them and was like, let's try it.
The good news is it's never too late.
Yep.
Yep. And they're still going.
Yep.
They are
I
still going.
wasn't a big Weezer fan till I was in my mid-20s, and same with Circa. I kind of, they were a little over my head, I think. I like a little bit, I used to like more of a little straightforward sound, and they're a little bit dreamy and kind of progressive, but once you open your mind to that, especially, now that you're in a band and you can appreciate instrumentals and stuff along with the lyrics and stuff and what the song is about, I think it's the perfect time to give them a shot.
So Violent Femmes.
Mm-hmm.
Violent Femmes, I don't know much of their catalog. I know the hits.
Yeah.
Thing is, I would hear them from time to time on the First Wave station when I worked at Buybacks. So they would get played every now and then, kind of amidst all these new wave bands, and I always thought it was kind of strange because they never seemed to fit, though I do know that they're kind of from that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have an interesting sound. I don't know if did they ever put out anything that was, I guess, a little harder, rocking with like full instrumental, because it always had kind of like an acoustic-ish feel to it.
To be honest, I don't even know, because I listened to their self-titled album that's got all the hits on it, Your Blister in the Sun and Kiss Off and all that stuff on there. Gone Daddy Gone.
Yeah.
That's what I listened to. That's what I grew up with, and that's that's it for me. Like I know they've got a couple other things, but I've never branched out into that because Self-Titled is one of my top 5 albums ever.
Well, maybe I'll check them out a little bit more.
I think they're the ultimate garage band.
I'm not a huge fan of Blister in the Sun.
Really?
Yeah, but the other tunes from them I've heard I've enjoyed.
Prove My Love is my favorite song from them.
Well, there's your artist searchlight.
Yeah.
Wrap
I don't
that
know
up.
shit about Violent Femmes. I'm sure if I heard the songs that you're mentioning, I would recognize them.
Like a blister in the sun. That's Violent Femmes. Yeah. Their bass player fucking tearing up an acoustic bass. I watched a couple live videos today, and he's just the whole time just all over it.
I like that song.
How about We Don't Know Shit?
Super Divorce, Don't Know Shit.
About trial opens of Egypt's former agriculture minister accused of taking bribes. This is breaking news. This is from today.
Oh, wow.
Out of Cairo.
Okay.
So a little Egyptian
Capital of Egypt.
Yeah, little Egyptian news.
Mhm.
So, yeah, this guy.
I've heard that the scandal, they're calling it Cairomania.
I'm actually, real quick, before we jump into this, I think I'm gonna bow out.
Okay.
I don't want to because I don't know shit about this and I want to contribute, but I gotta bow out, and I look forward to hearing that all the shit you guys don't know about about what was it? The
Cairomania. Yeah. Well, they're already calling the people who follow this story closely Cairomaniacs.
Yeah, and I consider myself a big Cairomaniac.
Oh, me
because
too.
I've been following this one.
See ya.
Since I read the headline the other day, I consider myself on the forefront of Cairomania.
Well,
so.
this is very interesting, and the timing, to me, couldn't be worse for the people of Egypt.
Right.
Because agriculture, wow, just so important this time of year.
Especially in a desert nation like that, because you only get so many shots at your crops because of the arid landscape. Everything over there, they don't have the leeway that we do, with our fertile soil and our, state-of-the-art farming equipment. A lot of it over there is about timing and when the timing's thrown off, when this guy's accepted bribes,
Well, it's here. The thing is, maybe you didn't read this part of the story.
Possibly not.
He wasn't actually accepting the bribes. He was just taking them.
Okay.
So there were bribes that were going on between other people,
and he would swoop in and just
take the
snatch
bribes.
the bribes away.
Yeah, and then he was using all of the bribe money to fund Egypt's agricultural industry.
Sort of like an agricultural Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he really had the Egyptian people in mind, and he was doing this from a good place. But
I'm glad to hear about that, because the way the media is painting it is that he was accepting bribes.
Yeah.
In return for favors. And
it's a big smear campaign.
Right.
And
right.
it
doesn't surprise me one bit
that
the media would twist it like that.
Someone trying to do something nice for citizens of Cairo.
Yeah. Well, the sweet potato shortage of 2014, it makes perfect sense that he would try to make up for that.
Yeah.
So if they only got a 50% return on their sweet potato crop last year, he wants to double up this year and make sure every child has a couple extra sweet potatoes.
And this is bribe money that he's taking. So it's not money that was being put into the system legally. He was taking it for a good cause.
Yeah.
Taking it away from a bad cause.
Yeah, black market weapons dealers and things like that.
And he was going to use this. I actually read his deposition just earlier tonight, and he planned on buying just so many different crops that they could introduce into the ecosystem of Egypt.
Yeah.
I think he had bought just truckfuls of bean sprouts and some sweet corn. They were going to do sweet corn.
Don't traditionally grow well in that arid climate, but I believe he was also going to invest in an extensive irrigation system.
Yeah, and I think, his theory was that, because things don't grow so well in the sand, that maybe if he just purchased as many seeds as possible, they could just dump them into a big hole and cover it back up, and then they were going to actually fly planes over every day to drop water to make it seem like it's raining.
Right.
They were going to have a fleet of planes that would fly by for about 5 hours at a time.
Yeah. They
would continue to drop water, and eventually, that something's going to grow.
Yeah. If you can't, if your climate's not working for you, you change your climate. So,
and you plant so many seeds that it's like throwing the old dart at the dartboard.
Right. Eventually, you're gonna hit something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you plant, So if you have mathematicians working on the probability of it, you can kind of dial in, how many seeds per planted seed are gonna bear food, and then go from there. So you grossly overbuy, and then end up with a crop that's halfway decent at the end of the season.
And if you plant billions of seeds and billions of different types of crops, then at the end of a year you dig that hole up, and you're going to have a treasure trove of foods and fruits and veggies that the people of Egypt are going to be able to. He was going to give it away at a sort of free
has
market.
it that the number of seeds planted actually outnumbers the grains of sand in the entire desert
and stars in the universe.
Right.
So it's
which is there's outcries from other nations around the globe about, hey, why don't you share some of that with us? And this man's he's a nationalist. He really wanted to make Egypt the number one agricultural center of the world, and there's a lot of dissent around not only the Middle East but countries all over the world. Why would you waste all these seeds if you're only going to get back a small amount? But he was steadfast in his plan. He stayed the course, and he got pinched. So
and now it's not going to happen.
Now, they dug up all those seeds, and actually, since they were in the ground already, instead of redistributing them among the countries that had them to begin with, they actually have to throw them all in an incinerator and just get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because once the seeds have been in the dirt, you can't resell them.
Well, yeah, they're dirty now.
Yeah.
No one wants those. So they have to get rid of them. And the best thing to do is just to set them on fire and
burn them up and
and they're going to use that leftover ash to make Egyptian cigars. I don't know if you heard about that, but it's a new system they're trying out, and so maybe when the next Egyptian cigar that you smoke might be made of the failed fruits of Egypt's agricultural minister.
Fruits, vegetables, legumes, pretty much anything you can think of.
So it was a modern day Robin Hood gone wrong.
Gone wrong, and now everyone's paying the price for it.
And in a wicked twist of fate, the people that he was actually taking the bribes from have all been allowed to go free.
Yeah.
So.
And I've heard that they've all invested in the burgeoning cigar industry. So really, they're just gonna end up getting all their money back 10 to 100-fold. I mean, these people are just the rich get richer. That's easy come, easy go. So
maybe if you're thinking about trying these new Egyptian ash cigars, just give that a moment of thought before you
Mhm.
start smoking it, because
Right.
it's basically blood money
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
you're engaging in.
Yep.
So
So yeah, and the next time somebody tells you about blood diamonds, just come right back at them and tell them you know about the blood ash cigars
Yep.
from Egypt.
So that's what we don't know shit about.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll move on to Comics Corner. It's a bummer that Bender's not here, because he said that he was just catching up on some Star Wars comics
Okay.
from Marvel, and I will do my best to relay what he had said about them.
Okay.
He said that he had some issues with the issues that he had read today.
Okay.
He did not like the fact that there was one particular segment, I believe, where Chewie and Han are making a rescue attempt. I don't remember exactly who they're rescuing, but they burst onto the scene, dual wielding lightsabers. Chewie is, and Han is also sort of whipping a lightsaber around.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he liked the fact that before this, as far as canon goes,
Yeah.
there was only one scene in the whole saga where Han Solo had actually used a lightsaber,
Mm-hmm.
and that was on Hoth to
Right, to cut open the tauntaun
Yeah.
to put Luke inside it and keep him alive.
Yeah, and he thought that this new scene that they added in, which is canon now,
Mm-hmm.
kind of diminished the special nature of that particular scene, where
Right.
you see him use it for the one and only time,
Yeah.
and now that's not the case anymore.
Well.
So there's kind of a little complaint there.
Yeah. I wonder what the circumstances are of the story that forced him to have to use a lightsaber.
Yeah,
I
don't
hope it
know.
was in a somewhat utilitarian way.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, we're just gonna try out some lightsabers today, Chewie.
I've always wanted to do this. Wouldn't it be
Maybe
cool?
There's no access to any blasters, and it's all they have.
Yeah.
You know, not being as diehard of a Star Wars fan as Bender, I can accept that, just because it's not in the movie. You know, even though it's considered canon, the comics are never going to be on the same level pop culture wise as the films are. So
I guess he also mentioned Luke returning to Tatooine
Mhm.
and getting in a little skirmish with Boba Fett,
Okay.
and I don't think he was a big fan of that. So that's another
Yeah.
minor little nitpick,
Yeah.
I suppose. But I can't say, I don't know the exact circumstances that led up to that,
Right.
and
I don't even know when this particular story is taking place in the timeline of Star Wars, so I'd have to.
Well,
get
obviously,
brought
I
up
guess
to
it would
date
be
on that.
before Return of the Jedi.
Right, but is it after Han's thought out of the carbonite or before? Because that would mean it's either before Empire,
Yeah.
between A New Hope and Empire, or between. Well, he gets thawed out in Jedi, so it almost has to take place in between A New Hope and Empire.
Yeah.
I would imagine, but
That's
correct us if we're wrong.
speculation.
Right.
I'm sure he'll let us know.
Yeah.
Well, that's Comics Corner, because I'm still very far behind.
Yeah.
All of those sitting there I've not read yet. I have 3 stacks of comics that
Mhm.
it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about cutting everything except like Spider-Man, Green Lantern, Invader Zim, and Saga, maybe.
Mhm.
And maybe, I don't know, I'm sure, because then I start thinking about it, and it's like, well, no, I don't want to stop reading Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then, that's the thing that they get you with.
Yeah.
You want to read all this shit, but then
Yeah.
you have so much that you buy, you can never get caught up on it.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a collection, a menagerie of comics sitting there that I feel too overwhelmed by it to even start to crack into.
If you get into comics, consider that.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe if you're going to get into comics, if you haven't yet, unless you have a bunch of free time and you can invest a lot of hours into just sitting and reading, maybe only pick out one or two and stick to that.
And follow those guys until the writers piss you off enough to quit one of those and try a different one. So,
and then you could, if there's something you hear about that's really great, then you can always pick up a trade paperback, the collected version later on.
Bob Tallman version of comics.
Yeah.
Wait for the trade paperback and just enjoy the story and not participate in the collecting. But the collecting's cool too.
The collecting's fun. It's a
I've
fun
collected
thing
things in life,
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we all collect experiences in life too. So that's another. You're a collector of something out there.
Yep. I collected knowledge about Cairomania as well. So
and so did all of
happy
you.
to keep up on current events by way of this podcast.
We are a very reliable news source here,
Mm-hmm.
and totally bipartisan. So you're gonna get the facts of the matter, and it's going to be in a completely, what would you say, emotionless.
Yeah, just delivered by the book.
Yeah.
No opinions, just facts.
Yeah.
So
Just there. It's
fact-based news.
the real no spin zone.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't twirl, we don't spin, we don't even move.
No.
We just deliver the news to you guys.
How about some movie news?
Some movie news.
Or just movies in
shit.
general?
Yeah.
Watch anything good lately? Or maybe rewatch something?
I rewatched. Did I talk about Monster Squad on the last podcast? I don't think I did.
so.
I watched Monster Squad on Netflix, which, if you've never seen it and you're a fan of horror movies and comedies from the 80s, definitely give it a shot. It's a great movie.
I feel like it should be right next to the Goonies.
Absolutely.
And like classic 80s kids on a caper.
Right. Yeah, it's there's not as much character development as in the Goonies. This movie is more boom, 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 this. You know, there's very little lull time. It's only an hour and 20-minute long movie. But because of that, you never feel bored at all.
Right.
There's always something going on. It's extremely self-explanatory, very satisfying, very 80s. Tons of cheesy music. You know, the monsters look great. Practical effects are there. You know, it's got all the check marks of a classic 80s movie. And it straddles that line between, is it for kids? Is it for adults? It's PG-13, so but the kids in the movie are, you know, between probably 10 and 15.
Well, the little girl's probably like 5.
Right, yeah.
You know?
And Dracula calls her a bitch.
Yeah.
So
give me that amulet, you bitch.
Yeah, he doesn't even say you little bitch.
Yeah.
Just you bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think of a little girl being called a bitch.
No. If you're familiar with the movie and you know that scene, a funny story about it is that they didn't tell the little girl exactly what Dracula was going to do to her in that scene. So he grabs her and picks her up, you know, and he's squeezing her cheeks, you know.
Yeah, he picks her up with one hand by her little chin and cheeks.
Yeah.
And
and you know,
screams it in her face.
Yeah. So
it starts slow and builds, and then the bitch part is just, give me the amulet, you bitch.
Yeah.
She screams immediately, and then he hisses at her.
Yeah. But after they shot that scene, they said that she like wouldn't talk to him because she was so mad at how scary he was. Because before that, I guess he would kind of joke around with the kids on the set a little bit, and it was like he got super serious for it.
Yeah.
I probably would have been scared.
Yeah, hell yeah. Dracula screaming at you.
Yeah.
Even if you thought he was a benevolent, you know, adult in your life. If you're 5 years old, you know, you got a short memory. Mm-hmm. Especially when something like that happens.
Yeah.
So, but that's a classic. I mean, it holds up and exceeds expectations. Sometimes going back to movies from your childhood, they'll let you down a lot of times, but this one, man, it just really, everything about it just hit exactly what it
High
needed to.
octane.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the strongest looking werewolves, I think.
Oh yeah.
Of movie history, honestly. When I was a kid, man, just the idea of that son of a bitch chasing you around.
Yeah.
The growl they give to him, he's just really, really fucking intimidating.
Uncle Rico
Yeah.
is the actor who plays the werewolf.
Yeah, we don't know what Uncle Rico's real name is.
Yeah.
But Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite is the werewolf, so.
Also, he was in the Sasquatch Gang.
That guy's a good actor. I hope he comes upon more work in his life, because he's a treat to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
He takes that Lawrence Talbot thing to the extreme.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I turned into a werewolf.
Of course, we have Star Wars coming out.
Yeah, you don't really even.
No.
It's hard to. At this point, it's less than a week away. Everything's come out as far as trailers and stuff. All the theories are out there, and I'm just ready to see the movie.
I read George Lucas has seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw this this bit of news, but he watched it and said that he thought the fans are going to love it.
Yeah.
He said, I liked it. I think the fans are going to love it.
Okay.
So I think it's the movie that they all want.
Mm-hmm.
He's not bitter, but
Yeah.
he did say that this process is going to be very difficult for him.
Yeah.
He said it's like getting a divorce, and that they wanted him to be more active in the creation of the film,
Right.
but he said no. He's like,
Wow.
he's like, I know J.J. Abrams has a vision for this film, and if
Mhm.
I get involved, it's going to meddle in what he's trying to create. So
Yeah.
I'd rather just completely step back and have nothing to do with it
Yeah.
than kind of get involved and then mess up whatever they're trying to do on
Yeah.
their own, which I think is pretty noble and cool of
Yeah.
him. And I'm sure it's
passing
tough.
the torch to a young filmmaker with a hot hand.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
And even if he was disinterested in the franchise before a little bit, I'm sure now it's as big as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Bigger, it has to be.
absolutely.
You know,
it's huge.
And so it'd probably be tough to see it reaching this peak just after you stepped aside and it's what you created.
It's like
you
Larry
know?
David leaving Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And then seeing their last few seasons be just as good, if not better, than when
Right.
they had him.
Yeah.
So, and to the people who are saying, well, now that George Lucas isn't involved, it's just fan fiction.
Mm-hmm. No.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Franchises like that are, the creator will always be revered, and he's the creator. It's his brainchild, but that he created something that's bigger than him.
Yeah.
And we accepted all the extended universe stuff that he wasn't involved in. So I mean, knowing that he liked the film and basically gave it his blessing and everything, and said the fans are going to love it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have had him involved in a perfect world, but I totally understand what he means. Because his creative mind, he would want to nitpick every little thing and change things here and there, and that could have just turned it into a mess.
Yeah.
Too many cooks situation.
Yeah, I think it would have ended up feeling like a patchwork,
Mhm.
as opposed to this is
Right.
the new vision for Star Wars
Yeah.
from J.J. Abrams, and
I heard that he basically handed over his ideas for the final 3 films,
Mhm.
and the word was that they just threw it all out and said, fuck that, we're going to do something else. But what really happened is they kind of took his ideas and built off of them. So
Yeah.
it's a collaborative thing, I think originally the main characters were going to be a lot younger. But I'm glad that they went the route that they did.
Yeah.
Because child actors are just so hit and miss.
The kid who played Anakin just pissed me off.
Right, and it's not his fault. He's
No.
he's a little kid at the time, just doing the best he can. But
Yeah.
like I just said, child actors just don't always get it right. And if you go with early 20s to mid 20s to mid 30s as your main characters, you can get some people with maybe they don't have the big name notoriety yet, but they can be coached and helped out and stuff. So.
And you can find people who already have some chops,
Yeah.
some acting chops, and
and make it the other thing I've taken in about this is that it's such a collaborative effort. You have the best visual effects people, the best cinematographers, the best this. I think what went wrong with the prequels was that it was George Lucas's vision, the end.
Yeah.
He stopped collaborating with people because he didn't need the help anymore. He had the money, he had the vision, that was it. But, sometimes collaborating makes it a stronger project,
Yeah.
So, the fact that they are sticking true to the original vision and adding to the mythos and going forward, I think it's going to be it's going to be hard to live up to the expectations, but I honestly think it will.
I think
really.
it will surpass what people are imagining. It's going to be. That's just my. That's my hope.
Even if you ask the most skeptical, butthurt dwellers out there, they'll say it's like, what are the chances that this movie is going to be bad, like flat out bad?
Yeah.
And it's like, you'll hear like 5%. And that's on the high side.
Yeah.
If it isn't a masterpiece, we want a good Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
That's what you want. So
I'm predicting
it's going to be one of another trilogy. So
Right.
You're not going to get everything in the first movie. You're going to get, a really badass movie that leaves it open-ended for where they go next. So you have to know that going in.
I am predicting masterpiece.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
I think the cinematography alone is already just... It's some of the best set pieces and just framing and just the way everything looks. It's overwhelmingly amazing looking.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I'm with you. I have this vision that it's just gonna blow me away and be a new avenue back into the Star Wars franchise, because I grew up with it and I was obsessed with it for a long time as a kid. Watched the original trilogy and then saw all the new ones come out as they came out, saw them in theaters, and I didn't hate them as much as everybody else did. I still probably don't hate them as much, but of course, the original trilogy is just, you can't beat it. But I was one of the ones that was pretty easy on the prequel trilogy, and I thought Revenge of the Sith was a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
I thought George Lucas kind of rebounded and really gave everybody a nice, sorry about Phantom Menace, because Attack of the Clones was a little bit better, and then Revenge of the Sith was a real Star Wars movie to me. So I look forward to becoming reinvigorated by the franchise, and I can't wait for more video games to come out. I hope BioWare gets a Knights game. I hope that the new extended universe is as rich and engaging as the old extended universe was, because I know that they're starting from scratch, but it really is a cool thing to be right there from the beginning to see all this stuff come out. So,
speaking of video games, you still playing Fallout 4?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been, because in the past I've been able to dedicate more time to video games. So now when I get a good chunk of time, it's like, okay, it's Fallout 4 time, because it's just it's one of those all-encompassing experiences that demands your full attention for hours and hours. And it just, it's one of those games where the more you play it, the more you realize, holy shit, you know, I'm never going to be able to do all this.
Yeah.
But that's what's cool about it, is taking on the challenge and just going, okay, let's do this, let's get some shit done, and, you know, going through your list of quests, and just the more you get into the main story, the more interesting it gets. But then there's it creates this internal struggle where it's like, well, I have all these side missions, I really want to level up and get some more caps and more weapons before I go off and blow my wad on the main story. So there's this constant struggle between, do I do some fetch quests and some clearing out places quests, or do I get into the meat and potatoes of the game and really... So I try to balance it out, you know, do a few side missions and then one of the main missions, but then there's branches of the main missions where, you know, different factions are all, you know, I imagine it'll all tie together in some way at the end, but, you know, it's just, you can't really, there's no definitive, this is the main quest at a certain point. It really branches off. And
well, side missions are really what's keeping me into Metal Gear for so long, because I kind of take the same approach with Metal Gear 5 as I did in like the Assassin's Creed games, where I try to do the side stuff as much as possible before doing like the story missions. And so there are 157 side ops, as they call them, and I've done 70 so far.
Okay.
And it'll let you do like a certain amount of side ops, and then you won't have any more available, and then you'll have to do some story stuff. So I always take it up until I have none left, and then I'll do the story, and then after that story mission, more side ops open up.
Okay. And
that's kind of how I play. And then it's also good because, like you said, you can continue leveling up and you know, getting nifty little gadgets that you can create, and you know, kind of makes the game tilt in your favor a little bit when you get these cool upgrades and such. Yeah. So I don't know. Some people. Well, real quick, just what bothered me working at GameStop is you'd hear people come in and they're talking about, like, I remember after the latest Batman game that came out when I worked there was, I guess,
probably Origins.
Yeah, it would have been Origins. And you had people coming in like several days after they had gotten the game and just traded in. I beat this. This game's too short. It's like, I know you just went right through like the main story,
the main quest,
and that was
it. Yeah.
But they put all this stuff in the game so that you can have this, you know, kind of go at your own pace approach.
Yeah.
You don't have to beat it in 5 hours.
No.
You know.
Not to mention, I think developers have caught on to that bullshit.
Yeah.
And with Metal Gear, what you just explained is a cool way to get people to play the side missions, and then having the side missions affect the success of the main quest.
Yeah.
Like, they did that perfectly with Mass Effect.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're gonna blow through the main quest, you're gonna fucking pay for it.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna do side missions and strengthen up your team and everything, then you're in for a rude awakening at the end of the game. So.
You had your galactic readiness.
Right. Well, that, and then in the second game when you have to do your loyalty missions and everything, so not to spoil anything, but get out there and do your side missions in Mass Effect, because if you don't, if you haven't played it, that's the way you get the good outcome, is to really canvas everything, and that's the way it should be played. It's, you know, the side missions are just as rich in content and just as engaging as the main quest most of the time. So, and
I feel like if you're invested in the character you're playing, like, you know, sometimes, you know, the side missions, if you had a certain view of it, you could be like, oh, I'm sick of doing this stuff. Or you could be like, man, you know, I've done a lot of these kind of like retrieve this guy or take out this target type of thing, but if you're really role playing, so to speak, you can imagine this is what you'd have to do to build up, your base, and get crew and build your team.
And if they made a movie about that character, this would be the stuff that they're talking about. Like, remember that time we were in Bosnia and we did this? It's like, it's the backstory. It's the, it does have its place. So don't skimp on your side missions. And a lot of games are doing away with a main quest at all and just having the whole thing just be open options. Do whatever you want, and here's a bunch of missions. So it may be overwhelming at times, but that when you buy Fallout 4, you know what you're in for. So I wouldn't blast through the main quest straight to the end. I mean, and I know people who are playing it. For instance, my sister, and she texted me the other day. She's like, "Have you done the mission for this guy yet?" And I'm like, "I'm still doing, I'm still clearing out settlements for my factions and, doing the little quests to build me up and get my companions to like me and stuff. I haven't really delved fully into the main quest yet, and I just now started getting a little bit into it, a little bit more, but and man, when you start doing it, it really opens it up, and you get more side quests piled on because you meet more more characters on the way on the main quest, and it's wild. It's different than any other. It's definitely without even having finished it, easily the best Fallout game I've ever played, and the most engaging Bethesda game I've played since Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I'm that invested in the characters and the storyline, and I saw your friend Jason, our friend Jason, post about getting one of his companions to idolize him was a huge accomplishment in that game, and you really do. Even though it's not quite as much as Mass Effect, where everybody, it's like a family by the end, it is, you do care about your companions and stuff and what they think of you. So
how's the music?
A lot of people bitched that the music was recycled from earlier Fallout games. As far as what plays on your Pip-Boy and stuff when you tune into the radio stations. Yeah. But the actual in-game music that plays is phenomenal. Especially the title screen music. It's absolutely... You turn the game on, and it sucks you in and gets you ready to jump into the fucking wasteland, man. It's awesome.
Real quick, this will lead into the next topic pretty well, actually. I saw someone post earlier today a picture of a create a character from WWE 2K14. Yeah. And it was Kane, but he was wearing like a Santa robe.
And they called him Candy Cane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Candy Cane.
Candy Cane. Mm-hmm. Put him right up there with Concessions Cane. I wish they would bring back Concessions Cane. They should have stuck with that for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
That was awesome.
Because you can't go any lower than Corporate Cane, so, no. If you're going to basically soil that character, you might as well go the goofiest route you can and just degrade him that much more.
Carrying around popcorn and sodas. They could actually have him walk the arena selling, and then every now and then you just see him like in the background.
Concessions Cane, he's made quite a few sales tonight. Got him carrying around some cotton candy, so.
Wrestling.
Maybe we need to start watching Lucha religiously because the WWE product isn't giving us much. Not to mention I just haven't been keeping up with it not only because of all the negative stuff I hear about it, but just because you have to carve out a chunk in your day to watch Raw. And if you're playing Fallout 4, which one do you want to watch? The thing that people are saying sucks ass, like Raw has the worst ratings it's had ever. Yeah. Because it sucks, or should I play Fallout on a 50-inch 4K TV? Yeah. I'm going to go with Fallout, so that's why I've been kind of missing out on the wrestling boat a little bit. But I know NXT has a pay-per-view coming up.
Yeah, Takeover.
So I will take that in. I know it's going to be in London, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. I'll definitely catch up on NXT before I watch it, just to make sure. I know that they got Balor and Samoa Joe in a pretty hostile, heated feud.
Yes.
I wouldn't say they've turned Joe heel per se. They just made him into kind of a one-track, I want the title and I'm willing to do anything to get it kind of deal. Sort of like a Kevin Owens kind of heel turn.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see those guys clash. And then, I think NXT has the strongest tag team division in the world right now. So any tag team matches that come on, I'm going to watch in NXT. It's just... every single fucking tag team is good.
Yeah.
Right now. It's weird. You got, Dash and Dawson, you got fucking Big Cass and Enzo, and you have
Gable and Jordan.
Vaudevillains. It's ridiculous, man. I can't believe it. And then the fact that the WWE's tag team division is
abysmal.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Even though New Day's over as hell.
Yeah, but I think
see them more of a Freebird stable. I don't look at them as a tag team because there's more than two.
Well, they're kind of running them into the ground on the main product.
Yeah.
I think that they found one thing that people were enjoying, and then they just that was it.
Yeah.
So they overexposed them.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's getting a little overdone now.
Yeah.
But actually, Triple H just said, I pulled up the quote here. He said, "We just have to become more disciplined and more creative with how we do things and how we operate the shows. We've had some unfortunate situations with injuries and everything else. It's on us to be more creative and come up with a better format and a better show."
Mm-hmm.
He also said, "We hear people's frustrations and in a lot of ways feel the same. It's fixing it and trying to fix it. It is what it is. How we fix it, we're not 100% sure yet, but we will get there, trust me."
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree with him. It's not as if they're... as long as Vince is alive, there's always going to be shit that people hate because he's going to try to shove stuff down our throat. But if Triple H can get his noggin in there and get enough of his influence on at least the low, mid, and right up to the main event guys, I mean, we can have something interesting to watch. You still got Owens.
Who Brian just said if he gets to come back, he wants to work with Owens.
Oh, man.
His first feud back.
No brainer.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, the uncertainty of Daniel Bryan coming back, because it'd be the perfect time to clear him to come back and save the company from these shitty ratings.
Yeah.
I mean, just have his music hit and fucking come out. He could work on nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have him in a feud with a fucking dummy, like a crash test dummy, and people would fucking watch it. So the fact that they're not clearing him, I just don't I don't understand the advantage of it. Because if he gets another concussion, then okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's not like the dude has a broken neck. He's not Peyton Manning. You know, he had the neck thing, and the neck thing's good.
Right.
So, I think you bring him back, give him a shot. He's a potential savior of your company.
I understand if they wouldn't throw him right into the main event picture with what's happened the last 2 times,
Right.
But ease him back into it.
Yeah, put him in a program for, with Owens and shit. Have Owens go over him. He doesn't have to win the IC belt. He doesn't need a belt to be.
Or hell, he could chase it for a while.
Yeah.
And they could make that
months and months, and that would make the prestige of the IC title go through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if Owens, had his number a little bit, and they traded wins back and forth, and in the title matches, something always happens to keep him from getting the belt. I mean, it's fucking day one wrestling. You know, I mean, these people that are in the company, I don't know if it's because they've been in the business so long that they think people don't want to see that anymore, but that's what wrestling is. That's why we
all
watch.
Vince.
It has to be. It has to be him saying, well, we've been there and done that, so we're not going to do that. You know. Then he has fucking, he's shoving Reigns down everybody's throat.
Yeah.
And the poor guy, Reigns can have a good match.
Yeah,
he just sucks on the mic.
Yeah. They're doing...
You don't have to shove him down people's throats. He was popular in the Shield.
Yeah, he was.
As a heel, and he was, even in the early stages of him going solo, people liked him. They wanted Reigns. But then when you so obviously are shoving somebody down people's throats and just...
And also you're playing to his weaknesses.
Yeah.
And just highlighting everything about him that's terrible week after week, it's...
strong in-ring, performances. He's not the most interesting, but, he's got kind of a Cena-like moveset where he does all the things he does pretty damn well.
Yeah.
But he's just not a talker yet. I don't know
and
if
he might
the idea
not ever
is...
be.
Yeah, maybe the idea is, well, we got to get him on the mic more often so he's more comfortable, but it just doesn't seem like that's the way to do it with
Well, I think
him.
Vince just wants him to be The Rock.
Yeah. Because they're giving him these little quips.
Yeah.
With The Rock, it's like, how did he say Rudy Poo candy ass and get that over? And then Reigns says, you're a tater tot, and people... just laugh because it's a fucking joke. It's because they're not the same person. The Rock is one of the most charismatic. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's just got a charisma that other people just don't have. You either have it or you fucking don't.
He gets on the mic with confidence.
Right.
And Reigns, you can tell he's trying not to fuck up.
Yeah, he's trying not to muff his lines up.
But
where The Rock is just like, he was a natural. I mean...
those guys were given much more freedom back then to just go out there and talk. They weren't, I don't think, trying to remember lines. Everything that Reigns says, almost everything anyone says now, you can tell it was rehearsed.
Yeah.
It was like, here's your script for tonight.
Yep.
And it's just all rigid, and it sucks.
They gotta let guys... I think the only guy who kind of gets his own shit over is Bray Wyatt.
Well, yeah.
I mean...
Because no one else could write that.
Right. He's just... He inhabits that character, and he basically goes out there and riffs, and it's just gold.
But it's shocking to me that they can't see the irony in that.
Right.
It's like there's one guy that we allow this freedom, and he's the one who actually does well.
Yeah.
He's the one who people kind of look to as the example of what a guy should be on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they don't think anyone else can do that. It's just...
Yeah, because if you have to take some chances, and I think that's why WWE's product stagnates, because they play it safe too much.
Yeah,
and then it just gets stale. It gets stale so quick when you're playing it safe and just Kane versus Reigns in the main event and all this, Big Show versus this guy. It's like.
You gotta start bringing the big guy. It's Ryback. No one gives a shit.
You have to. I mean, Triple H knows better than anybody, and I think there's probably a lot of stuff between him and Vince that people don't know about because he knows the business from the inside. Mm-hmm. But then Vince is Vince, so the dude he owns the company, and he's not known for being very collaborative.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What else do we have here? Is that about it?
We did movies, video games. We did comic books, wrestling.
TT Boys.
I think
Searchlight.
It's time to come back to TT Boys again for a little rapid fire TT Boys.
All right, let's rapid fire here.
Down a couple, but going strong here.
Let's see here. Let's pull up our trending topics.
How do you think CM Punk is feeling about all this shit?
I just read that he said he would not come back to the WWE if they offered him $50 million. And I believe him.
I believe him too.
But there were a bunch of butthurt dickheads on Squared Circle, who were like, or no, I'm sorry, it was not Squared Circle. I read this on the Yes Wrestling group that I'm a part of on Facebook, and a bunch of these dumbasses were like, oh, well, everyone's got a price, and he's bullshitting, and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, I think that you seriously don't get how much he disliked being there.
Yeah.
And that, then someone makes the point, well, he just, guys get away from the business, and they come back because they miss the business, they miss wrestling. And I'm thinking, if he really missed wrestling, he would just go back to Ring of Honor, and do a few shows there.
Yep.
And
we might still see that.
We might, yeah.
After his UFC run, I mean, who knows how long that's going to last. And if he takes a couple bad losses,
yeah,
you can't imagine he's going to stick with it and just keep fighting and getting his ass kicked. So
he seems like a guy who probably doesn't go out and blow his money on, like, gold-plated cars.
Right.
I'm sure that he probably has a home the size that he needs.
Yeah.
And that he's...
Good comic collection.
Yeah.
Good video game collection. Probably a nice TV.
Yeah.
Xbox One, PS4, all the amenities. But beyond that, I don't see him driving the Pimp My Ride cars and expensive... going to clubs and buying $500 bottles of champagne for everybody in the whole place. He's just not an extravagant human being. He's a simple guy.
So he's probably saved his money well.
Right, like Carson Palmer.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably invests well.
Yeah.
And I really think that if Ultimate Fighting didn't work out,
yep, he
would just kick back.
Yep.
Enjoy Blackhawks games.
Yep. And I know he loves writing for Marvel and stuff. He's doing
so it's not like he has no income source. He can get other work.
Not to mention all the money he's already made.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that if he wanted to go and wrestle somewhere, anyone would have him.
Right.
So there's no reason for him to go back to the shit show that is WWE, unless...
If it was for the love of the game, he would go back for Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
He wouldn't go back to the WWE. That's
or if maybe if Vince died.
Maybe
then
maybe if Vince passed away, I see him making amends with Triple H and coming back, but
yeah,
Vince is just... I don't know. I wish he was 80 and not 70, because we may have to wait several more years for that dude to... It's unfortunate that you have to think like that, but that he's unknowingly just destroying wrestling.
Yeah. Because
he bought out the competition in WCW, and there's nothing left, really, but the niche companies. TNA's the next closest budget-wise, and people think... with good reason that TNA's a joke, because for the most part it is.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a chance of another WCW coming up and whipping up on Vince and really making it worthwhile for him to pump out a good product. It's just when there's no competition, what's the incentive to put out anything that's worth a shit? And then if the WWE were to fail somehow and, go under, go bankrupt, then what do you got? You got nothing left. So there's more at stake than people think. But there's always New Japan, so.
Yep. And Ring of Honor and
Ring of Honor and Lucha Underground,
PWG.
You won't have a huge, Walmart of wrestling anymore, but maybe that would be the best thing,
Couple trending things here before we finish up. Go back to Fallout. Bethesda Softworks developer announces Target retail store to receive shipments of Fallout-themed Jones Soda.
Okay. I read that earlier, actually, believe it or not, and I really want to try their Nuka-Cola Quantum. I think Jones Soda makes a quality soda. Never had a Jones flavor that I didn't like, so it'd be cool to kick back and drink a drinking Nuka-Cola Quantum while playing a little Fallout 4.
Here's one. I don't know why this is trending. I guess it's Waianae, Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
or Waianae. I don't know. Sorry. Video posted online shows rats at Chinese food restaurant after closing. Do you think that's trend-worthy?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean,
Wouldn't you just want to like report them to the local?
yeah, that's something you'd see on like Channel 5 News. You know, rats found at local restaurant. Not something that'd be trending worldwide.
There's a rat in this restaurant. Man, this is gonna go viral. Go viral with this one.
Maybe there's so many rats or something, like it. Maybe it's just an over-the-top amount of rats for it to go viral, and the fact that the video of it exists
Yeah.
is another thing. Because usually when you get reports on that stuff, it's just hearsay or it's being reported by a boring white person. But if you see a video of rats running around, maybe it's more impactful. I don't know.
I don't know.
Sorry, that Chinese restaurant needs to get their shit together.
Yeah.
That's all I know. 'Cause-
Or you're gonna be shut down.
yeah.
Scrabble. Man memorizes French dictionary to win French Scrabble championship.
Well, I hope it was worth it. I hope the prize money made it worth his while to sit around and memorize a French dictionary.
What do you think you get for that? Think it's 100,000?
Maybe a hundo thou. I don't know. That's being pretty generous. I'm thinking maybe 50.
Maybe 50,000.
50K
Yeah.
to win the French Scrabble championships. If you're talking world Scrabble championships, but I don't know. You know.
All right, we'll close out with this one. Pontchartrain Expressway. Christmas trees given to homeless living under New Orleans highway. Do you think they would have preferred like some food or
Food, water, shelter, anything but Christmas trees.
here's a Christmas tree,
Yeah.
and you will have no presents underneath of this because you're homeless and
Not to mention, I mean, good point about you're gonna have a pretty bare spot underneath your Christmas
Yeah.
tree, but Christmas trees don't burn that well.
no.
It's fun to burn them. My dad used to always throw ours in the fire every year, and you get a nice show because all the water and the pine needles, you know, creates kind of like a spark-like effect, and it, you know, it's cool to look at, but it burns really quick, and once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get much heat once you've burned through your little pine tree there.
I'm
So-
sure you meant that that would take place after Christmas.
After
It would be-
Christmas, yes.
The
What did
story
I say?
the story would change dramatically if it were like my dad about
Used
5
to-
days before Christmas used
Just
to
throw the tree in the fireplace and burn it up.
all the ornaments and lights.
Yeah,
attached.
everything attached to it.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, but
That makes me think of, you know, missionaries who go to third world countries and give out Bibles instead of food and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, it's
maybe they hope that by putting Christmas trees underneath the expressway, that people will feel compelled to go and leave gifts for them on Christmas Eve. I don't know. I really don't understand.
that's not how being homeless works. I don't
Is there?
think.
Are they plugged in? Do they have a generator, or is it just like
Maybe-
pine trees?
Here's what it is. It's a cover up. It's a flim flam. What they're really doing is getting rid of a bunch of unwanted trees that no one wants to buy.
Well, yeah, it's all the
And they're
trees
just
left
throwing
over
them-
at the lot.
Yeah, they're just throwing them under the bridge where the
They're
homeless
not
people
even.
live.
They didn't even stand them upright.
No.
There's just a pile of Christmas
Yeah.
trees.
Dump truck backs in.
Yeah.
Deet, deet, deet,
Yeah.
and just dumps a shitload of trees right on your home there.
On the homeless people.
On the homeless.
Just like
Right on top of them.
trying to crawl out
Yeah.
of pine needles, and they're getting cut.
Right.
and-
This is just a way of sugarcoating it.
yeah.
But really what they did was they used the underpass as their refuse bin
Yeah.
for unwanted Christmas trees that
Makes me
weren't
think-
good enough for the average consumer.
Makes
so.
me think of the guy from Bob and Tom, who calls in from time to time from the hardware store.
Uh-huh.
You ever hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just called the other day, and they're like, "Hey, do you have any pumpkins left over there from Halloween?" And he said he had like something like about 250. Just has a fine selection of Christmas trees from like holiday 2005.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Stop treating the homeless people like that.
yeah.
Because, I mean, there's some survival things you can do with pine needles, but you can't really...
Yeah.
You're not going to eat them.
There are better things that you could have given the homeless people
Right.
this Christmas season.
Yeah.
So
Just tell them to fuck off. Don't
Yeah.
pour your unwanted shit trees on them. You know, they don't want that.
All right, let's recap then.
Homeless
So-
are being...
Homeless
Dumped
being shit
on.
on, dumped on.
Yeah.
Pine needles everywhere under the underpass.
Lots of stab wounds, lots of
One other
sap
thing, who's
getting
going to
stuck.
clean that up?
Well, I'd imagine it's just going to rot. You know,
That's
be a big...
that's an eyesore.
Yeah, it'll be a big like a what do they call it in the backyard? You have
Compost
a
pile?
compost pile
Starting
underneath the big
the New Orleans
overpass.
compost pile.
And they're hoping that all the homeless people just die underneath the big pile of trees, and it'll just be a massive compost heap that they can then use for manure and things, planting citywide
compost
yeah.
for the city of New Orleans.
They'll use it to plug up the levees if they ever have another problem.
Could be. WWE sucks.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Fallout's fun.
Fallout 4, definitely. Hope you get a chance when you're done with Metal Gear and whatever else you have on
I'm
deck
sure.
to get to it.
Yeah.
So.
What else? I talked about Violent Femmes. I'll
Yep.
check them out.
Circuit
Bender's,
Survive is really good.
yeah, Bender's gonna check out Circa.
Yep.
You, I guess.
John Fogerty
John Fogerty.
always has a good selection of ice creams at his shows. He looks good for his age, too.
Yeah,
he aged
does.
really well.
Weezer. Weezer's good.
What else? Oh, new Star Wars will exceed everyone's expectations and be a masterpiece.
Be a masterpiece.
Start of a new era.
Yep.
Which,
Agriculture.
Yep. Cairomania.
Yep.
Happening
Cairomania.
right now.
Running wild. For all the Cairomaniacs out there,
Yeah.
stay tuned to this story because I have a feeling it's not over yet.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, send us any additional info you have for any of our Egyptian listeners. I know our listener base there is pretty strong, so if you have any inside info on the Cairomania